Yo, what's up guys? I'm Yannick from the Produce School and this is our brand new tech and minimal house producer pack, Dimension. Tech and minimal house are the styles within house music that just never seem to die out. With artists like Bibi, John Summit, Maupi, Chris Lake, PAWSA and many more that are leading the game. And for this reason, we've created an all-in-one producer pack containing all the essentials for your next minimal or tech house track. In the pack, you will find over 110 presets for Serum, a sample pack including the essentials like drums, effects, drum loops and more, 3 different project files for FL Studio, Ableton Live and Logic Pro that you can use to get inspired or learn from. There's also a vocal pack in there which includes 100% royalty-free vocals that you can use in your own tech or minimal house tracks. And there are also a lot of really cool loops and MIDI files that you can use in your own tracks. If you want to support the pack or find more information about it, then click the link over here or use the link in the description which goes to our platform theproduceschool.com. And on there you will find more information about the pack as well as some previews of the sounds that are included. Alright, now let me give you a preview of the 3 different project files that we've created for Dimension.
El ritmo, el paso, el ritmo, el paso.
Inside the groove. Inside the groove. Inside the groove.
For Dimension, we've created over 110 presets for Serum. This is the full list. We got basses, chords, effects, leads, plugs and synths. And I'm going to pick out some of my favorite presets that are in there and show you how they sound. Let's start off with some basses. The first bass I'm going to show you is called Always and is this really simple filtered saw bass that you can hear in a lot of tech house tracks. It's just an essential kind of sub bass that always works. For every preset we included some macros which you can utilize to modulate the sound a little bit and tweak it. For instance, this first macro opens the sound, which adds some nice harmonics, so the bass is better hearable on like smaller speaker systems. Let's try this out with a drum loop so you have a better idea of how this bass can sound. There's no sidechaining on it, so it might clash. And with macro 2 we can add some punch. Next one is called Bass Phase and it's this really hard percussive bass. Some more distortion. If you want a fat knocking bass sound that you can hear in a lot of tech house tracks nowadays, then this is the right bass for you. And this wider macro works well with the mid only macro. So you get this nice percussive top bass. Bass block is also a knocking bass. This one is a little bit more like a classic knocking bass because it's just a sine wave kind of 808 based. It just works well in a lot of tracks. This is bass clock. It's a classic house organ bass that just had to be included in the pack. Bass Dust is a really cool FM bass. Bass Explaining is this warm, analog sounding saw bass, which sounds something like this. Let's try it out with this drum loop. Bass Fender. Bass Harmony has a nice top layer to it. Bass Impress is a really nice one that always works for me. It was somewhat inspired by the drugs from Amsterdam Bass. It's not an exact remake, but we just took some inspiration for it. Bass Operations. Bass Prime is an essential FM bass that works just so well in a lot of house tracks. Let's check out some macros. We can add some punch or change the frequency modulation or turn it into some ear candy. In this way you can use it as kind of a bass shot on top of your actual bass. Bass saving is an interesting one. It's this filtered saw wave, but because there's an LFO going on the face of the oscillators, it creates this kind of vibration effect. Makes it a little bit more unique. You can add some glide, start or layer it. Add some more harmonics. Bass thump. Bass tonic can be used as a bass shot. And there's a modulation going on the MIDI velocity, which opens up the cutoff. And the last bass I'm going to show you is called Upgrade, and it's a really fat knocking bass. Over to some chords. They are made that you can play just one note and you hear a chord sound. This one is called Activation, and it's this typical minimal house chord step. Let's add some sustain. Some nice phasing going on. Chord Metal. Chord Nights. And chord Sun. We also included some effect sounds which you can use to fill up your track a little bit, add some ear candy. This one is called Wraith. Stranger. FX Under. Some leads. This one is called Amnesia and it's this nice brass sound. Add some detuning. Macro 3 is also really cool. You create this really fat brass step. Lead blower. Lead Destiny is a double hitting lead, and we've created this lead by using an LFO and setting it to envelope mode and creating this like double hitting shape, and then modulating some parameters such as the level, cutoff, and more. And it goes like this. You can also change the LFO rate. Lead fade. This is lead focus. Lead futuristic. This next one works best if you use it as a step sound. Lead hours is for those fast, funky melodies that you can hear on some tracks on solid grooves, and it goes like this. The last lead I'm going to show you is this rolling lead called Ignite. You can automate Macro 1 to modulate the length of the notes. Onto some plugs. This one is called Cache. And like the description says, play with the velocity of your MIDI to create some interesting patterns. Plug Cream. And plug Plastic, which is this detune plug. Some synths. This one is called Candy. Synth Paradise. Synth React is this nice analog sounding pad which you can hear in a lot of those minimal house tracks in the background of the track. Just play like one chord and you'll be fine. And you can open up the cutoff with the mod wheel as well. Synth Skip is perfect for minimal house chords. And it sounds different each time you play it because there's an LFO going on which modulates some parameters like the filter cutoff, which creates this kind of sweeping effect. And then the last preset I'm going to show you is called Under, and it's this old school sounding key sound. Now let's check out the sample pack that's included in Dimension. First of all, we have some loops. We have bass and rumble loops. Here are some bass loops. And for each of these bass loops, the MIDI is included as well. So if you like the melody of the bass loop, but you don't really like the sound of the loop, then you can just use the MIDI and use a different sound to your taste. Then we got some rumble loops, which are more for those underground tech house tracks. They don't sound that great on their own, like this one. It's really low. But when you put it together with a drum loop, for instance, so this is without the rumble. And then let's add this rumble. You get this really low and dark bass sound. Let's try a different one. Then inside the sample pack you will find some bass shots which are key labeled. And you can use them in case you don't want to use a synthesizer. We have drum loops, which are sorted in various folders, like glitch loops, which you can hear in a lot of minimal tracks. Percussion loops. Shaker loops. And then top loops. Then inside the drum folder you will find bongos, claps, closed heads, crashes, kicks, open heads, percussion sounds, and snares. Then we have some drum fills. Which you can use in build-ups. Or shorter ones. In the FX section you will find downlifters, impacts, some random FX sounds, uplifters, and finally some vinyl noises. And then there are 20 key labeled synth shots. And then finally we have the vocals, which are 100% royalty free. We have hooks like these.
Again. Again.
Bring that beat back.
Feel your body. Shake your body.
El ritmo. El paso.
Turn it up.
Turn the dial. Ignite tonight.
And then we have some vocal loops which are useful to layer on top of your tracks. Especially for those minimal tracks, they work well. And by the way, all the samples and presets and loops that I just showed you are 100% royalty free. So you can use them to release your own tracks on all streaming platforms without having to ask us permission. I hope you enjoyed watching this overview of the pack. If you have any questions regarding the content or certain things, then let me know in the comments. There are also a lot of tech and minimal house tutorials coming around this pack. So if you have any suggestions what artists, what techniques or anything within tech or minimal house we should cover, then let us know that in the comments as well. If you want to check out the pack and support it, then use the link in the description. And for now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.
El ritmo.